Hey Tom, when am I going to get my free NACS adapter from Ford? I ordered it months ago. Here's another one. Tom, I own a Cadillac Lyriq. Any inside information on when GM is going to open up the Supercharger network for their EVs? And here's one of the more unfortunate emails that I received recently. Tom, I bought the A to Z Typhoon adapter based on your review, but it doesn't seem to work on my Kia EV6. Any insight on how to get this thing to work? So unfortunately, there's a lot of confusion about this rollout. I've received dozens and dozens of emails, comments on my videos, and private messages on social media platforms asking for advice and guidance on how to get their vehicles to work on Tesla Superchargers or which adapter to buy, all types of different questions like this. So I thought it'd be a good idea for me to put out a short video today and kind of update where we are today with regards to this transition to the North American charging standard. All right, so first, let me do a brief overview of how we got to where we are today. A couple of years ago, Ford CEO Jim Farley shocked the automotive world by saying he was going to transition Ford's electric vehicle from the current charging connector standards used in North America, and that was the J1772 connector for AC charging and the CCS1 connector for DC fast charging. He was going to transition future Ford vehicles from those standards to the Tesla connector, which is called the North American Charging Standard. Well, Tesla named it that, the North American Charging Standard, and at the time, only Tesla used it, so not many people called it the North American Charging Standard. However, they do now, and that's because after Ford announced that they were going to transition their new vehicles beginning in 2025, pretty much everybody else did. GM was next. I forget what the order was, but all the other car companies said, okay, we're going to begin transitioning our cars, and in 2025, we're going to start having native North American charging ports on the vehicle. We're going to use that connector. We're not going to use the previous standards anymore. And that basically, sealed the deal for the name. It is the North American Charging Standard now. So maybe Elon could look into the future. But I think a lot of people thought that this might eventually happen. It's a better connector. It should happen. In my opinion, I didn't believe it was going to happen. Honestly, I didn't think the legacy brands were going to do this in transition. They did, and I think good on them and good on Ford for being the first company to do it, because once they did it, everybody else had to do it, basically. Otherwise, Ford would have an enormous advantage over the other electric vehicle manufacturers. Okay, so Ford announced this a couple of years ago, soon after all the other companies followed and said, yeah, we're going to do the same thing. But then what happened was the customers didn't want to wait. Current electric vehicle customers didn't want to wait until 2025, or if, let's say, you owned an EV now, you say, well, what happens? Am I getting locked out of the supercharger access? My cars have CCS. So what happened was the manufacturer said, okay, we're going to make an adapter so that current electric vehicle owners won't get left out. You'll be able to use Tesla Superchargers. You'll be able to charge on charging stations that have the NACS connector with this adapter. However, in order for it to work on Tesla Superchargers, the companies needed to get some software straightened out between Tesla and their vehicles so that there'd be a seamless transaction, and also so that the vehicles could charge their customers natively through their apps. They wouldn't have to go to the Tesla app and authorize a charging session. The companies wouldn't agree to that. They want the customers to be able to use their native apps and charge on Tesla Superchargers and be able to be billed through their apps, not through Tesla. So in order to do that, there's a little bit of work that the companies have to do to make it work. So therefore, before the cars could be enabled, Tesla and those companies needed to work this out. Now, Ford was the first one to get it done. Perhaps they had an agreement with Tesla that said, look, we're the first ones that are going to announce this, so we want to be the first ones to have access. We don't know that for a fact, but it seems that way. And Ford was the first company to get access with the adapter, the NACS to CCS1 adapter. Happened a couple of months ago. I did a video on that the first day that the Supercharger network was open to Ford vehicles. Ford was kind enough to to meet me at a Supercharger, give me one of the adapters so I could charge my F-150 Lightning, and I'll drop a link to that video in the description of this video. A few weeks later, or a month or so later, Rivian became the second company to have Tesla Supercharger access. And to this date now it's 3 or 4 months later, nobody else has gotten Supercharger access. It was Ford and Rivian, and then all of a sudden, crickets. It's probably part of the reason was when Tesla laid off its entire Supercharger team, a lot of these folks were working with the OEMs on getting the software to work. I know this for a fact from people that I spoke with in the companies, and that has caused a delay, but it seems like it's kind of getting back on track now. I know Tesla then rehired a bunch of the people they fired, and that's helping to get things moving forward. We believe General Motors is going to be the next brand to get Supercharger access. On Tesla's website, they specify that Ford and Rivian vehicles already have access, and that General Motors, Volvo and Polestar, and then Mercedes-Benz are going to be the next OEM. So those must be the 4 other companies that Tesla is actively working on to get the software straightened out. Okay, so that's where we are right now. But in order to use the Supercharger network, if you currently have a Ford or a Rivian, you need to have an adapter. Tesla is manufacturing these adapters and providing them to Ford and Rivian. Both companies set a deadline on when their existing customers could order the adapter and get it for free. Ford and Rivian are giving it to their customers for free. We don't know if any of the other brands are going to do that, but as of now, if you own a Ford EV or a Rivian EV, you can get a free adapter mailed to you. You go to your respective website and you fill the form out, and they'll send you your free adapter. Ford initially set a deadline of June 30th. They said you had to order this by June 30th. If you didn't order it by June 30th, after June 30th, it was going to cost $230. Ford has recently pushed that back to August 31st. So we're still in the window where if you own a Ford electric vehicle, either the Ford F-150 Lightning, the Mustang Mach-E, or the E-Transit van, any one of those 3 electric vehicles, if you go to Ford's website, you can enter your VIN, fill out some information, and they'll ship you a free one. Rivian is giving until August 2nd, unless they extend it. That was at least the deadline that I read on my email when they sent me an email a couple of months ago to fill out and get your free adapter, which I did, and I've received mine already. Most people haven't received their adapters, even though both Ford and Rivian have sent out thousands of adapters. Many more thousands of people have asked for them. And that's the issue that we're having here. Tesla, who's making them, cannot supply them fast enough. And customers from both Rivian and Ford are unhappy about it. I've received so many, at least 75 to 80 emails from my Rivian and Lightning followers. I own both a Rivian and a Ford electric vehicle, so I have good followers on those 2 brands, both of which have sent me tons of emails saying, Tom, can you give me some insight on this? And I really can't. I've emailed both companies and asked them for a little direction on how long it's going to take to fill all the orders. Ford responded just recently and said, look, we're supply constrained here. Basically, they don't want to throw Tesla under the bus, their partner, but Tesla is not able to supply the connectors fast enough, the adapters fast enough. And just today, Ford is sending out an email to all of their customers. So let's take a look at what that email says. Due to ongoing supply constraints, there is a further delay in your complimentary fast charging adapter. We know this is frustrating. Thank you for your continued patience. To expedite your adapter delivery, we are rapidly working with our supply base to increase high-quality production. We are confident we will have a solution in the coming weeks. That's an interesting sentence for me, that they'll have a solution in the coming weeks. As the adapter supply increases, our goal is to work as fast as possible to get your adapter to you. We will continue to update you on the estimated timing of your adapter. In the meantime, make sure you're ready to plug and charge with Tesla Superchargers by setting your vehicle's automatic software updates to on. Okay, so Ford is acknowledging that there's a supply problem here. No surprise there, but they must be getting a lot of feedback from their customers, and there's been some recent news articles. I'm a senior editor at Inside EVs, and Inside EVs recently put out an article on this, and that's basically driven by the fact that they got emails from customers saying, hey, do you guys have any insight on this? I've been waiting. I'm going on a road trip soon. I was hoping to get that adapter because I'm driving many thousands of miles, many hundreds of miles, and I wanted the adapter in case I need to use Tesla Superchargers. So this is really the first real official piece of news that I've gotten from Ford to acknowledge that, yes, we understand there's a supply issue and it's going to take us a while to get these adapters out. And besides that, the fact that they're extending the deadline to order them to August 31st means that they don't even know yet how many they have to supply because people can still order them. So I don't think Ford could actually give you a hard date on that. And the fact that they're getting them from just one supplier, Tesla, Tesla isn't always the most forthcoming company out there, at least for the media. I think for everybody, I'm sure Ford, Rivian, and the other OEMs aren't getting a lot of feedback from Tesla. It's just probably kind of like, look, we're sending you as fast as we can. And then factor in the fact that GM is going to have access really soon. There's been a couple instances in the last couple of weeks where GM vehicles worked on Tesla Superchargers for like a day. And what we believe is that was testing. GM asked Tesla to open up their supercharger network to their vehicles for like a day so they can conduct testing. And then the end of the day, all of a sudden they didn't work anymore. We saw that with the other vehicles that got access. Before the official opening happened, there was like a day or two where people could sneak in and use an adapter and it would work. So we believe that it's within any day now. Although I've said that for the last couple of weeks, I do believe GM vehicles are going to have access really soon. But then their customers are going to need adapters. So that's even more adapters that Tesla is going to have to produce and send out. Now, we don't know what GM's policy is going to be yet. They haven't announced it. Are they going to send them away for free? Are they going to charge customers? Are you going to order them at the dealership? We really don't know what their plans are going to be. And then they're going to be followed by Volvo and Polestar, and then I think Mercedes-Benz. All of the other OEMs, we have absolutely no blueprint on when you're going to have access. So I'm very sorry. I know a lot of people are sending me emails, Tom, when will my Hyundai have access? When will my Volkswagen have access? We really have no blueprint. I've asked Tesla for some clarification on this. Tesla does not respond to emails. I wish we could get some sort of a roadmap or an estimate, but we don't have that. Right now, we only know that Ford and Rivian has access. GM is going to be next. Volvo and Polestar is probably going to follow them, and then Mercedes is going to happen after that. Those are the only other manufacturers that Tesla even mentions on their website that they're currently working with. State of Charge is powered by Qmerit. After I've helped you decide which electric vehicle charging equipment you're going to buy, follow the link in the description of my videos and let the EV charging installation professionals at Qmerit install it. And as far as the supercharger access, let's be clear here. You can't use any supercharger. You can only use V3 superchargers, and not even all of them. They had to have updates in order to work with the other OEMs. And some of the V3 superchargers still don't work. And I believe Tesla's in the process of updating the software on these different V3 superchargers, but you have to check either your Tesla app, which will show which vehicles are compatible, which chargers are compatible with your vehicle, or the navigation systems in your vehicle. I know that there are a lot of superchargers around me that are V2, and they will not work. You can't use a Tesla V2 supercharger. The software, the communication just isn't going to work. So, and there'll be no update to make those work. The V3 and then V4 will all work as long as they are properly, or they have the proper software. But on a recent road trip that I took, I even passed some V3 superchargers that I couldn't charge at. So it's not like every supercharger station you see you're going to have access to. I urge you to plan out your trip and take a look at the superchargers along your route. If you're planning on using them and you have supercharger access, make sure that those superchargers are enabled to charge other vehicles. Now, the Magic Dock supercharger locations, which have the built-in adapter, will work on any electric vehicle. So if it's a Magic Dock location, and Tesla continues to install Magic Dock locations, you can use that no matter what electric vehicle you have. There's no deal that has to be made. So because everything is getting done through the Tesla app. so they can charge any electric vehicle. The deal with all these other manufacturers, the reason why they have to have this software working is all the manufacturers want their vehicles to be able to connect and charge the customer through their native app, and that requires the back-end work between Tesla and the other OEM. So, okay, just to summarize things here. Rivian and Ford are the only companies that, as of today, August 31st, have access. General Motors should be next. That should be followed by Polestar and Volvo, and then Mercedes-Benz. There's no other roadmap for any other electric vehicle to get it. I'm very sorry. As I get information, I continuously reach out to all the OEMs asking them, can you give me any insight into when your customers are going to be able to use Tesla Superchargers? We don't have that yet. I think the companies don't even know that for the most part. They're kind of waiting on Tesla to say, okay, you're next. Let's start working on this software and getting it going. But that's for the adapters, to be clear. The OEMs are going to start installing native NACS inlets on their vehicles. That's all you'll be able to use is the North American charging standard from 2025 and onward. And every electric vehicle manufacturer has a different plan on that rollout. It's not like starting in 2025, every one of their electric vehicles are going to be sold with NACS inlets. That's not the case. Most of the manufacturers are saying that all their new models, when they come out with a new brand model, that will have a NACS inlet. But if they're continuing to sell, say, an existing model beyond 2025, that may still have the CCS port. So you're going to have an instance where manufacturers are selling electric vehicles, the same brand are going to have two different inlets. Now, it's not the first time that's happened. It's actually currently happening now, because if you go to a Nissan dealership, you can buy a Leaf that uses J1772 for AC charging and CHAdeMO for DC fast charging. And right next to it, there'll be an Aria that uses J1772 for AC, but CCS1 for DC. So it really is a good thing that the whole industry is coalescing around the North American Charging Standard, or NACS connector. Instead of having all these different connectors out there, eventually in a couple of years, all the electric vehicles are going to be using the same connector. It's going to be making charging a lot easier. But for now, we're in that awkward period where there's going to be a lot of difficulty, and getting a hold of the official Tesla adapter has been proven challenging for a lot of people. Now remember, I have done video reviews here about third-party adapters, which Tesla does not want you using on their network. They've come out and said the only one that we authorize is the official one that we make here. And the OEMs, Ford and Rivian, have both said, look, this is Tesla's network, so what they say goes. If they don't want you using it, we don't want you using it. That said, and I have many followers that have purchased the A to Z adapter and the Electron adapter and are using them fine. I use my A to Z adapter all the time. Both Electron and A to Z have been selling thousands of them. Electron had a problem with theirs, actually two small problems. One where the NACS adapter would pull out without locking, and then it seems like they overcorrected the issue, and then now some of the adapters seem to be getting stuck with the NACS connector inside. I believe they have that manufacturing tolerance worked out by now. I don't have 100% confirmation on that, but it seems like my followers that have ordered them recently said it's fine. I'm not having any issue with that. A to Z just launched their new Typhoon Pro adapter. I just reviewed it last week. I think it's a fantastic adapter, and both A to Z and Electron are offering 10% off if you use the State of Charge coupon code, so you can save 10% on either one of those adapters. That said, understand Tesla does not want you using third-party adapters, but I understand people want access now. And that is a buy and use at your own risk. I personally think both adapters are made fine, and I think they'll pass UL certification once UL 2252 is finalized and they can submit them to certification. And I believe once they do that, the manufacturer are going to say, you know what, if it's UL certified, you could use it on our network. We're not at that point yet, so I just want to make that crystal clear. If you do get a third-party adapter, you're using it at your own risk. Listen, if you have any questions about this NACS rollout, please leave them in the comment section. I'm sure I'm going to continue to get questions, but I just wanted to do a little bit of an update and say where we are now, because I know while a lot of people understand what I said here today, there's a lot of people that don't. A lot of people are wondering, how come my EV won't charge on Tesla Superchargers? Why do I see other people using it and I can't? And I hope that this video offered a little bit of clarity of what's going on with this transition to the North American charging standard, and also why you may have ordered an adapter months ago and not gotten it yet, either from Rivian or Ford. It's just because Tesla's making them as fast as they can, providing them to Rivian and Ford, but it's just not fast enough. And hopefully, what Ford said in their email, that there'll be some more clarity on this soon. That would be fantastic if they could say, look, we're going to have them all shipped out by September 30th or something like that. Hopefully we'll get some clarity on that really soon, and hopefully Rivian owners will get that same clarity for peace of mind. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.